What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Kurumizawa's Folly, Chapter 13. So in this one, so um, So Kurumizawa returns to his house. He basically he apparently he waited at that park for 3 hours and Yoshikawa never showed up. So basically he wants to find a way to contact her and to have a to talk with her. Hada greets him, and so you have Hada's thinking about the whole developments and how basically you see how from his past. So apparently his grandmother died, and so relatives were and then yeah, so basically relatives wouldn't, they don't want to care for him basically. So he never learned how to read, so he kept getting fired, he kept going from job to job because he not being able to read. um so due to issues with his education, he was unable to get have a stable job. And then basically he said that he got out of the country, he couldn't wait to get out of the country, but he was actually kicked out. And that, and basically he mentioned that he told Kojima that manga was a letter back home to him, but he was like, there's no one to read it. And that basically with Ball being successful, that Kata hasn't, the joy he's felt the most was the satisfaction of basically having payback against those who you know, basically spurned him. And then yeah, so and then basically there's no one alive that he actually wants to truly show his manga to. So his head's that the teacher is still alive, his teacher's dead. Yeah, that's sad. So yeah, so and Kuruizawa noticing sees there's something off, asks if Hada's alright. Hada says that there's something with his stomach. So Kuruma says that says he's sorry for giving him something that messes up his stomach. So he says he's gonna cook up some rice porridge for him. And then you have Hada's thinking that he thought of Kurumizawa was that he was his idol, someone he inspired to be like. And he wonders why he did what he did. And so he recalls that Kurumizawa was in a creative slump, and that so he's wondering if it's possible that basically Kurumizawa has just lost touch. And then he realizes that Kurumizawa, basically who he respects but now hates, basically his career lives and dies by his hand. And basically, Hada says he was wondering what would happen after Bilal ends, and says he knows that Kurumizawa can't kick him out, and that he now knows that Kurumizawa was lied to him. And so when Kurumizawa asks what he's thinking about, Hada says he's thinking about with how well Bilal is doing, in sales, and that he says that his parents in the countryside will be happy to hear about everything. And so Kurumizawa was He's like, yeah, Bilal's done well because of you, but and but basically like helping like give him meals and stuff at the house is like all he says that's all he can do for him. And then and he says and he starts thinking he's like and thinks to himself that Kurumizawa is like pathetic, that he doesn't even concern that he doesn't want that Hana thinks he doesn't want to give all that what he has up. All he has to do is give up his name, and that he'll keep alive the name of Yoshihiko Kurumizawa. And and then like so Kurumizawa talks on the phone to Mitron, and he asks if he wants to talk with her, and but he says he has a bunch of things he had to do, and so it looks like he'll be there on the 7th of a month. And so he's thinking whether or not he should contact Yoshikawa again. And then Hana's looking at something, the text of something of a dojo, and that he believes it could be whatever it is could be the address for Sagara's studio. And basically, as long as he has the address, he can ask people how to get there. And then his idea is to wait for Kurumizawa to leave for a while, and then he'll find a way to keep Yoshikawa quiet. And he hides like the real issue of Shonen Victory, and he says he could just tell Kurumizawa that he knows about the Ghost Rind if he wanted to. And he said thinks that he could be forgiven for enjoying like Kurumizawa being desperate. And like he knows he studied too full, and some paper got jammed behind the drawer. He knows there's something else from paper, and there's some letters and manga. And he pulls out pre-owned manga, like like basically yeah. So and then yeah, so it looks like it's like Next Century or something by it looks like Tetsuro Usamu. And so the handwriting's not Kurumizawa's. And so what we see in the letter written is that send this letter somewhere in your now. I am extremely forgive my scattered thought, my moneyed spirits, Takako and Masahiko, to include the truth and how all of this don't trust Yoshihiko Kurumizawa. So then there's some rip text. There's like part of the paper is ripped, so we don't see the full letter. So Hana doesn't care, but he can't really read, but he does notice that the handwriting's different. So it hints that there's something that happened with Kurumizawa in the past. And so Yoshio Sawai, we don't know who that is. That's gonna be interesting. So yeah. So basically Hana's thinking that he has to find Yoshikawa and you know stop her from like speaking to anyone about what's going on. He doesn't want anyone to basically ruin what he and Kurumizawa have. So that's gonna be it. So basically, it's been hinting that like we saw like when he grabbed Yoshikawa by her throat that he could possibly get violent. Like we've seen that as a possibility, and I think he's gonna kill her. I like Yoshikawa's dead. She's gonna die very soon. That's what I think's gonna happen. Like honestly, I think there's a possibility Kurumizawa's gonna die. Like one of my theories is that Hana will kill Kurumizawa and take his name as his own. Like I think that potentially could be what happens. Like now, how that goes, I don't know. Like it's good. Like if that doesn't happen, then Kurumizawa will have to heal like Hada will heal Kurumizawa will have to stop Hada, but and sacrifice his reputation in the process. One of the two things is gonna like basically we're gonna have like something's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be interesting what like probably one thing that could happen is if like does something happen that causes Bilal's sales to drop and like Hada, like how would he react to if something happened, if the fans reject something and the sales start dropping? How would he react to that? That might be something that could happen. That could cause like some mental breakdown. 'Cause obviously Hada has some issues now. A lot of that is due to issues from his childhood, but does that excuse any actions he takes? Any evil action he takes? No. No, it does not excuse that. But obviously he has some issues that he needs to work with. Based on how this is going, he probably ain't gonna work with it. Work on it. So yeah, I thought it was a really good chapter. I'm interested in how they handle because Hada's now gone full villain. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Fire Force Season 3, Episodes 15 and 16. So in these episodes, Benimaru fights the doppelganger of his former mentor and the predecessor of the as leader of Asakusa. And so the doppelganger. So one thing it's revealed is that the doppelgangers they represent like the human perceptions of different people and things. So like the Shinra that the doppelganger persona that Shinra had like when he was like passed out, whatever, when he was looking into the past. That was like other people's perception of Shinra, and so that doppelganger of the Benimaru's mentor was everyone's perception of that guy, which is why he's very powerful now. Benimaru wins, and the doppelganger kind of is okay with basically being because he's kind of impressed. Now, Sho and Arrow are trying to investigate, you know, stuff with Sho and Shinra and like their mother. So they go to hospital registry. They see a bunch of stuff. So their mother's name is Marie. There is no father for both of them. It was a for both Shinra and Sho. It was a virgin birth. Like Shinra and Sho is a virgin birth, and like so basically what's established that Shinra is meant to be this era's version of Jesus Christ. And in the second world, so in the post, the first Great Cataclysm, so pre Great Cataclysm, you had Jesus Christ. So Shinra in the second world, or whatever, I don't know what the official name, basically the Fire Force world. He is that world's version of Jesus Christ. And Show's basically meant to be kind of like an angel per se. Like I believe that's what Show's supposed to be. But Shinra is basically Jesus, and he even has so people call him evil, call him he's of the devil. So in the Bible, you have the whole the cornerstone. So you had the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. So obviously, that's Psalm 118:22. So that's one of the prophecies about Jesus Christ. So Jesus, like, basically, obviously the Pharisees, Sadducees, large portion of the Jewish population in Jerusalem at the time rejected Jesus. They accept him as the Messiah. Like, so that's why like they wanted to crucify him. They wanted the Romans to crucify him, and then they some call him of the devil. You had the whole of the you had the old famous if Satan's the if he does it by Beelzebub or Satan or that it'd be Satan divided against himself. House divided against itself cannot stand. So it's like how the whole people see him as a devil. That is meant to be kind of like what happens with Jesus. So he Jesus was called evil by a lot of the religious establishment at the time. Like the Pharisees, they're the big dogs. You have the Sadducees, where they're a lot of things they're known for is like basically they don't believe in the resurrection, all that. The Zealots, I don't know per se how much what the Zealots overall. I mean, because we only really know as far as the Bible's concerned. I mean, Barabbas could have been a zealot. I don't know. Like, I mean, Barabbas could have been one. We know Simon was one. I mean, he's called Simon the Zealot. So that's like the only major zealot we know. Anyway, so yeah, the religious establishment. So as far as what the like, so like we used to know they were like the zealots were warriors. We don't know as far as what they thought of Jesus as a group. I don't know. I can't say because I just don't know. So, but what this is what we have. So you have obviously those who understand who Shinra is. They see Shinra as a hero, but then everyone sees it like sees the devil, and that actually plays a role in the next episode where Shinra fights a doppelganger of Raffles, who's like the founder of like the Holy Soul Church, Holy Soul Temple, and like defeats and people on the TV, the whole fight, and some people call him a devil for killing Raffles, and basically causes and Shinra disappears, and so and one thing the show actually helps Shinra during that fight. And and Iris awakens with the Iris awakens her power. She makes a protective fire shield or something, heat shield or something that allows Shinra to basically go full power without risking killing anyone. And yeah, Shinra disappears. After everyone calls him a devil. So obviously a lot like this is where a lot of stuff starts picking up. Like it gets insane what goes down in the next seven like in these episodes. It is going to be insane what happens because there's a lot of stuff that goes down. It gets insane. So obviously this is the eighth pillar. Like basically stuff's going down. So like it's gonna be like it's definitely gonna be weird what goes down. Like it is gonna be weird. Like so like yeah, so like I mean the you have Fire Force chapter, you know, 255, famous for the basically being the like the photo chapter. Like it hasn't been adapted yet. But like like to my like I don't believe it's been adapted yet. Like so like so yeah, so basically like that chapter when that happens, because that is happening soon, that will it's an interesting one. There's some interesting chapters coming up. Like it is, there's some freaky stuff about to happen. Like so, obviously, a lot with the Great Second Great Cataclysm was about to happen, and basically it's explained. So all the White Clad, they're wanting. So humanity's desires, their perceptions of the world will lead, supposed to lead humanity towards death. So that's gonna, yeah, like that's gonna lead humanity towards death. Now, there's a whole deal that happens with that, like, but yeah, so it's yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like, things are about to get really crazy. Like, having read the manga, I would say things are gonna be very crazy. So I thought this was a pretty good chat, a pretty good episode. All these episodes are pretty good, so I'm looking forward to the next one. The Hunting Party, season 2, episodes 3 and 4. So in these episodes, in the first one, so the killer of the week is Zach Lane, who is kind of like a modern day Robin Hood. I mean, he would basically was a serial killer who targeted the rich New Yorkers. Now there is something different with his Lane's past victims from before he was in the pit than now. Whenever they do so, they investigate. They learn there's some childhood issues, like basically he had a strained relationship with his father, and then yeah, so basic, and so like they were able to like the team's able to deal with that and deal with with that guy. So the next episode, the killer is Amanda Weiss. So she was known as the masseuse. So she was a massage therapist. She would kill her clients by breaking their necks. So okay, so basically Amanda and her sister Lucy was a drug addict. Like basically they had some abusive family, and then like basically Amanda, if Lucy wasn't in her life, she would start killing people a lot sooner, but taking care of Lucy kind of grounded her. But when Lucy died, yeah, Amanda just went off the rails, and of course that's how she ended up. And so she kidnaps a girl named Tiffany to serve as like a substitute for Lucy and Alice. So Alice was a so the psychiatrist who was assigned with, I guess, studying Amanda, um, after gaining no progress, claimed like basically did a fake quitting thing, but instead of quitting, basically did a whole test to have like, so I guess like due to I guess the kind of walls are in those cells, like sound can't penetrate, so you have to communicate using like basically how the beating on the wall, like kind of like a Morse code type thing. And so the psychiatrist's idea was to have an inmate named Alice. Now it's not a real inmate; it's a fake one that could communicate with Amanda in order to, base for a psychiatrist to study Amanda. So Amanda basically goes to like some places that Alice would talk about, like as far as where to like basically like pass and like where to go. So Amanda, having abducted Timothy, hides out in the cabin. And so the team, like, they try to find her. Bex impersonates Alice as a way to get close to Amanda and save Tiffany. The crew where out Tiffany's alive or dead. And so the team arrests, like, they're able to save Tiffany and arrest Amanda. Now, another issue is the whole deal with Lazarus. So, Colonel Lazarus, so basically there's investigations about who it is. It's revealed that Lazarus is so Bex, learns that about Lazarus being a, graduate of the pit and learns like her name and is what and basically wondering how in the world is a serial killer like a high ranking like officer in the military. I would agree that would actually be a cause for concern. And so, and in the end of the episode 4, you know, Shane tells Bex that the voice recording he had studied that matched with someone, and then like someone basically was of his mother's voice. He doesn't know where his name where her name is, and Bex knowing about Lazarus, basically is shocked about that. We don't see Bex tell Shane that about what his mother's name is. Like we're not shown that, so we don't know if that will be dealt with next episode or something. But yeah, so and there's also a deal with so Lazarus kills the duels, like to basically keep something from Shane, whatever that is. Whether I mean my theory is that Duels is Shane's father. So when Shane like basically snuck into the retirement home and claimed he was the son of Duels, that might actually be true though. Question comes like basically like when it comes to like okay who's the father of a serial killer's children, like basically is it possible that Doles was you know going after some inmate, like basically screwing some inmates? That leads to some questions with that I'm sure will be explained. Overall, I thought these were good episodes. I thought they were good. Like the mysteries and all of it, and like how they were able to track all the killers. But yeah, I thought these were really good episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Frieren Beyond Journey's End, Season 2, Episodes 2 and 3. So in these episodes, Frieren's party arrives in Fable and cleans a bronze statue of a hero. And Stark is surprised that the statue is not of Himmel. And Fair says it's the hero of the South who was actually humanity's strongest hero, who killed 3 of the 7 sages alone, along with Shlot the Omniscient being one of them. And explains that Hero of the South tried to get Frieren to join him. She refused. So Hero South has perfect precognition and can see the future. And so he expected that Frieren refused. He also says that a hero in the future will convince her. And he says how, like, she'll know. Basically, that he sees him in the future who'll be the one. And Hero South says that will be the guy that the hero she'll go with is the one who actually ends up defeating the Demon Lord. And that he saw his own death, and that he'll like help clear. He believed his job was to clear a path for Himmel, which he did. And so yeah, so basically, and then later, so Grafdock, they head towards the city. The Farron's part heads towards the city run by Grafdock, and then like Farron wants to just shop and leave quickly, but they're drawn to a celebration feast. And Doc tries to ask for the party to retrieve a sword that was stolen by demons, by a demon. So the trio walks over a village and they find the sword demon. The demon approaches the priestess, saying that that the demon already left. Frieren like sees the through the deception, so the 3 of them fight the demon and defeat it. Gain the sword back and returning the sword to Doc. And then yeah, so basically the Grimoire issue there is a spell about turning red apples into green apples, which I would be fine with that because green apples are better than red apples in my opinion. So in there, then the party moves through the Atwas Mountains. They stop at a village famous for hot springs. Now the hot springs are dried up, and basically it would take a week to get to hot spring to the nearest town with hot springs. So basically they go to a hot spring that's hidden in the Edelweiss Mountains. So Frien's reluctant, but so the party goes, and then yeah, so they deal with the three-headed Hydra, and once you get to hot spring, basically it's really quite shallow. So basically it's just for a footpath, and so like the group then reaches Aiba, and yeah, so Frieren spends time at the hot springs, and Stark tries to find stuff to do. Fern is bored. Fern then tells Stark that he's the Neglector and he's inconsiderate. So Stark decides he needs to get payback at Fern for criticizing him, and to get some payback is like to basically ask Fern on a date. And he's actually surprised when she basically says yes. That's a very awkward yes. So he's concerned, so he asks Frieren for help. So Frieren shows Stark some places, where he might go. And then so basically then Fern tries to ask Frieren for advice, but with Frieren not really able to get answers, Frieren's like out sides with the youth, so she just goes to bed, and she's like nervous and all. So yeah, I thought these were good episodes. That was funny, like the whole like Stark and like with Fern being nervous, and you have like, and there's a whole bit where so where Frieren takes Stark around tough up like Stark like when he explains the situation, he said, yeah, it'd be like he'd be like what was it? Yeah, if he asked Frieren out, and Frieren said that Stark's around to nice grown man, so maybe she'd be happy, and Stark said it'd be like a grandmother taking her son out, and Farron's like annoyed by that. And she says it's strike two, and so when asked what strike three is, so Farron says that basically it's her running the tantrum. That's essentially what it is. But I thought these were great episodes. Like I thought they were good. Like it was like honestly like they're like it was interesting. The hero of the South, like that was a cool little story. You have also with Fern and Stark. It's like it's just funny because they're both like really awkward. So yeah, I thought these were very good episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Miracle, The Boys of 80. So this is a documentary on Netflix about the Miracle on Ice. So the 1980 U.S. men's hockey team in the Winter Olympics. Famously beat the heavily favored Soviet Union, and then obviously beat Finland or to clinch the the gold medal. And so yeah, it goes over like how the players were trained, like team selection, the coaching. Like it takes everyone a lot of players who are still alive, because obviously there's some who passed away. Of course, the coach unfortunately passed away as well, like back in I think it was '03. But yeah, like it goes over all the matches and like how the USA chant it became popular, and like goes into some of the backgrounds of the players. Like I would say this is a very good documentary. Like very good. So yeah, so like it does very well present the information about the team, about the stakes, how like I mean here's like this was 1980. We were in the Cold War. It was United States versus the Soviet Union. Capitalism versus communism. Like and obviously with the Vietnam War being fresh in a lot of people's minds because it ended like basically 70 like as far as the US was concerned 73. And then like so, and yeah, because you had like all the draft dodgers, people burning American flags, and you had the Iranian hostage crisis going on at the same time. You had the recession from that was going on at the time. So there was a lot of stuff going on that people were like just, but like the team like gave like a sense of national pride in everyone, and like it united the nation, like basically like beating the. I mean, that's like basically that was one of the things that, like basically beating a bunch of Soviets, united the nation. This was expected. This was the time period, because like this was a big freaking deal. Like beating this Russians are never easy to beat. Like even now, Russia's hard to beat, and this is one of the few teams that actually beat the Russians after they got destroyed by, I think it was like 10-3 in like exhibition round, like before the whole tournament stuff was going on. And then they obviously beat the Russians in the 4-3 in the medal round. Yeah, I thought this was a fantastic documentary. That was very good. I highly recommend watching it on Netflix. Mercy. So this is a new movie with Chris Pratt. Came out last week. I was finally able to see it this week. So so in LA, so due to like rising crime, so basically a AI like court system called Mercy basically uses AI judges to put defense on trial for like murder and stuff. And so the AI will give defense all available risk to like find provide evidence they need in order to, and they're given 90 minutes to prove their innocence or be executed via sonic blast. Now there's no jury, so like it's guilty until proven innocent. That's basically how it works. And so like they have to drop it to below 92% chance of being guilty that in order to survive. Like that's how it works. And then yeah, so LAPD detective Chris Raven, who was like one of the early strong proponent of the Mercy Court, he's put on trial for the murder of his wife Nicole. And so an AI judge named Maddox is like presiding over it, and so there's a lot of evidence at the crime scene, with Chris's partner Jacqueline, aka Jack Diallo. See him basically looked like a crime of passion. Basically, do like they're arguing because Chris had been drinking a lot, and he has suspicions about something like Nicole was hiding, which is revealed to be an affair with the guy named Patrick Burke. And so, yeah, so basically, then, hmm, so after, like, so they do investigating, like, there's whole, like, calling different people, like, so Chris tries to call his daughter Britt, and then, like, get information, so, and, Chris, like, he believes maybe, like, he got drunk and just killed, like, crime passion, he just doesn't remember. But he looks at something and he remembers like Burke mentioned something about like Nicole having problems at work, and he asked Burke like about the whole thing, what happened at work, and she been basically saying there's an issue with the with the chemicals disappearing from where Nicole works, and so Chris believes that one of them killed Nicole after he's like a so barbecue that was had. He uses that to narrow the suspects, and then he believes it's Charles is Holt is like Charles Holt like basically he had some financial issues. He had gambling problems, so he thought maybe like sell the chemicals to make some money. But when Holt comes back to try to he was trying to find Chris's sobriety sponsor, Rob Nelson, to help like basically 'cause he wanted like the whole like because Chris suspected that Holt killed Nicole, but throw that he when Holt explains that Rob was one who was stealing the chemicals that he had talked that basically Holt had talked with Nicole to try to figure out how to handle it. And so Chris looks at a lot of his Brit's secret social media account, and so there's a stranger that was hiding in the basement since the barbecue. Since no one goes in the basement, the door being open was weird. And then there's like a rustling in the bushes, and like the neighbor's like security footage. You don't see a figure, and then yeah, so their footage. So it's revealed that Rob was the one hiding there and getting out. So basically, so Chris has Jack go to Rob's house, and Jack and her SWAT team get there. They find like the stolen chemicals and plans to create a bomb. And Max learned there's some photos that reveal that Maddox is like so that Rob is the brother of David Webb, who was the first person that Mercy Corps executed. So it's revealed that Rob plans to make a bomb to blow up Mercy and take revenge on it and Chris. So Chris is acquitted the murder. Like it goes from 97.5% chance of doing it to zero now. But Chris says he doesn't want to get out of the chair yet because he wants to help delegate the search for like like for Rob. And so Max doesn't rec- he Max recommends that Chris get out of the chair immediately so that he doesn't get electrocuted. So the clock keeps going, and so he's able to try to direct things. And so Rob has a truck and he kidnaps Britt, like a human shield, whatever. And so yeah, so the cops chase after the 18 wheeler that Rob's driving, and then so basically this whole bit where it's a possibility that the cops are going to try to blow up the rig, but with Britt on board, Chris says no. And it's implied that Maddox, who technically cannot interfere, had basically stopped the bomb from exploding. And basically, it seems like Maddox is growing some sentience in regards to like how it handles courts because of how Chris was using his gut and all that to do it, help investigating. So it seems like there's things that obviously there's things that Max can't do. Like and so yeah, so basically then hmm, so Rob crashes the 18 wheeler into the Mercy building, and so Rob and Chris fight, and Chris beats him and pulls out, grabs a, it's about to kill Rob, but Brent and Max tell him not to, convince him not to. Jack shoots Rob, and Rob says that David Webb was innocent of the murder. He was basically killed for. And he's like he was on the phone dude at the time of the victim's death. And then Matt and basically there's some footage that does confirm it. And it's explained that basically Jack had dumped in David's old phone, which would have actually been enough evidence to exonerate David. Basically, she wanted the first Mercy case to be foolproof so they could justify his existence. And so Jock and Rub are, they're both arrested. And so Chris reconciles with Britt. And so Max, so it's off. And then, Chris's case is dismissed. So, he's free. I, a lot of people have hated this. I actually really enjoy it. I thought it was pretty good. So Chris Pratt was really good, in my opinion. Chris Pratt was actually very good at this. I think Rebecca Ferguson was really good in this. Like like obviously this is like a like this was a low budget movie. So yeah, like it was only like 26.3 million. So it was like 60 million in budget. So 26.3 million is the current box office. So like 60 million, that is actually a low budget. So some of it is the CGI from the futuristic stuff. So it's not much. But yeah, I thought this was actually pretty good. It was interesting to see how Max gradually grow like kind of a conscience, and then like which that if they ever make a sequel that could play a role, I don't think there's gonna be a sequel. Chris Pratt was really good. Like he is basically in all of his roles. Yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. Looking forward to the. I mean, I if they make a sequel, I'd be fine with it. But I thought this was a really good movie. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.